All right, and we're back for another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, and Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows, and if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, it is sincerely appreciated. Well, unfortunately, when you're down Anthony Davis, and then you find out just before the game you're down Marc Gasol, and you're also down Kyle Kuzma, that leaves you a little bit shorthanded going against a team that is young for the most part and very eager to go ahead and win a battle against the Los Angeles Lakers and take ownership of second place in the Western Conference. And knowing that the Clippers have already lost, with the win against the Lakers, they certainly could do that. And they were very eager today. It got very chippy. It got very short with each other. They got very just testy. And you know what? They fought hard. And unfortunately, the Pheonix Suns did come out the victors with a very hardworking Lakers team. But unfortunately, in the end, their passing, didn't stop. They stopped doing that. They led too much isolation, all the things that LakerTom doesn't like to see. But, with the absences and the people that were out of the game, unfortunately led to individuals coming into the game that got more time and didn't take advantage of it. But here today to talk about the game and the shortcomings of the Lakers today, who lost 114-104, is a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at Lakerholics.com. And again, I can't take too much from this game because, they were down 3 players, but he will be talking about the game today. It is LakerTom, and LakerTom can't be too disappointed because, again, it wasn't the true Lakers that are out there. I mean, there's some nitpicking I want to do, but I can't really do too much when you consider the fact that the Lakers were down 3 players.
No, it was just one of those games, Gerald. Sort of ominous as I'm getting ready for the game, and I look on Twitter, and the first thing I find out is that Mark's gone, and then I turn around 5 seconds later and find out that Kuz is gone. To be honest, the Suns played a better game than we did. Mm-hmm. They shot red hot first quarter and got a 5 threes lead on us in the battle for the 3-point differential. And even though LeBron hit 3 late threes at the end, that 5-3 lead just stood up the entire game. At one point, it was a 10-3 lead. You can't win that 3-point. You can't lose the 3-point battle to a team like the Suns, as well as losing the free throw battle. Even though I don't understand that they could throw Booker out on whatever he must have done.
That was kind of weak. That was kind of
weak. And I thought there were several calls that I thought were very weak and missed calls left and right. And what's most frustrating about these kinds of games for me is that they must have gotten at least 4 or 5 baskets from just crazy bounces of the ball after we make a great defensive play. Yep. Or a guy shoots an air ball and it bounces and the guy's able to save it. The ball just didn't bounce the right way. We didn't hit our shots. We lost the battle of the benches, and almost 9 points. The difference in the game really came from their bench. Really, I never even heard of this Nader guy, and Saric obviously is a good player.
Nader, I think, is from Oklahoma City.
Yeah, he's having his way underneath on us, and I think you just write it off as one of those games where we just had these last minute changes. It's sort of like the COVID injury thing that's been plaguing lots of teams this year. The Suns lost several games early in the season because of the same thing. So you just write it off. You hope that Marc Gasol doesn't have COVID or isn't going to get COVID, that it's just another contact tracing situation. And hopefully, even regardless of what happens, it's great that it happens right before the 9 days off, so that hopefully the players will all pay attention, realize that they're still at risk, and we'll go through this 9-day break and come back with everybody healthy and ready to go. We've got a back-to-back tomorrow night against the Kings in in Sacramento. So hopefully we can put together a good enough game and not fall into Admiral Akbar's trap game and pull that one off. And we'll go into there fine. I think, it was, I saw some signs early. There were times when we played some excellent defense. And you just have to live with these things. These are the Suns are a much improved team. Chris Paul is a good floor general, and they had some guys that hit some shots. Cam Johnson came in there and he hit 3 out of 4 threes. So they shot extremely well from distance, and the entire game they were well over 50%. So that makes such a big difference, and it puts such pressure on you. And they actually ended up shooting 55.2%, 16 out of 29 threes. We were 11 of 31 for 36%. So that's always been my big worry about the Lakers and about the current roster. When you get behind in a game like this, and it felt like we were further behind because we constantly would catch up and then fall 10 behind, catch up and then fall 10 behind. When you get into that situation, that's not the kind of games that we do well in because of the whole problem of not having volume three-point shooters. KCP was, again, just terrible from the free throw, terrible from three, and you automatically start off when you got a couple of players who aren't playing well and are in the starting lineup, and it makes it hard to recover. You've got too many guys who just don't produce on a regular basis, and that inconsistency is something that we're going to have to solve for our starting lineup for the second half of the season if we're going to be successful and able to defend our championship this year.
Well, I could tell that was going to go south when Jared Dudley got an extended amount of minutes, your 15th man of the year, and he got literally abused, reused, and thrown out into the trash by none other than Dario Saric, who just owned him. And it was just so ugly to watch because if you watch Dario Saric, he looks like not only does he run like someone, but he also looks like someone that should be playing in your era, Tom. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how what's a throwback.
My era, Gerald. Come on.
Yes, not even my era. Not even my era. Your era, Tom. That's how old and throwback he looks like when his run, with his gait, with his whole 9 yards. He just looks like he's just this throwback. But you know what? He's an effective playmaker.
We could have used him in our bench tonight.
And he was hitting the three. And he literally just would post up and just destroy Jared Dudley today. Jared Dudley did look like a 15th man today, unfortunately, Tom.
Well, Gerald is the most valuable 15th man in the league, is not for his play on the court.
That's for sure.
For his role on the team.
Certainly proved it today.
His mentoring of the other players on the team and so forth. It just showed how I would have liked to have seen. I actually thought that Damian Jones played pretty well when he was in there. And I would have liked to have seen him get more minutes. I think he's got some potential there, and Matthews didn't have a good game. He turned down a couple of open threes. KCP was probably 0 for 6 or 7 from 3. Yep. Just made a couple of layups, and several times I don't know what's going on with Kenny. Several times he just went inside and just totally lost the ball.
Schroeder did the same thing.
Schroeder had turnover and ball handling problems all game.
Missed some bunnies, and just like I said, just wasn't the game for the Lakers. And you just have those games, and this was one of them. And the fact that they were shorthanded didn't make it any better.
But you can understand that it's difficult when all of a sudden you've gotten a rhythm with a certain rotation. And you come out and you find you're missing 2 players. So now the Lakers are going into the game with 2 starters. Their starting backcourt, their starting front court is out. They lost. It's so hard when you've lost AD and you've lost your center, your power forward, and your primary backup for your power forward.
You lost about 90 minutes of regular rotation play is what you lost.
And so that makes it, then you have to adjust, and then you're going up against Ayton, who, while I've never been a huge fan of Ayton's, he's got size so that there's at least a half a dozen easy baskets that he's going to make on just because of the size disadvantage, and that's why I would have rather have seen Damian Jones get a shot playing down against him. even if you have to send him to the free throw line, rather than letting him just turn around and drop the ball through the hoop the way he was doing it several times. But we move on. Kings tomorrow night, and then we get 9 days off, and we'll have some interesting opportunities to talk about general things and basketball things as opposed to just recapping games. That'll be a fun time. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that as well, although I'm very disappointed again that the Lakers didn't match up to what was being done with the Suns. I thought
they had the advantage when the refs kicked Book out of the game. I thought that looked like we should have taken advantage there.
They had an opportunity, just couldn't get it done. Again, the execution, too much isolation, all the things you talk about, defensive rotations on the threes.
It's also those clutch plays when you're up 3, for example, and you come down and you've got a wide open 3 and you miss it. Mm-hmm. Or you've got a fast break and you blow it. Those things always turn around to be 3. They're like 6-point turnarounds, and we had several of those situations. The Suns, on the other hand, credit to them, when they had those situations where they're 3 or 4 up, they would hit that big shot, and that put the pressure on the Lakers the entire game. And we just don't have the 3-point firepower to come back from behind when we get down like that. And that's one of the weaknesses we're going to have to shore up to make it through the second half and defend our championship.
That's true. It was very disappointing. Again, like you said, just didn't have the amount of firepower necessary to go ahead and make that deficit up all the way through. But the Suns played very spirited. You could tell they really wanted this game, and they wanted it more than the Lakers. Yeah. And, even with all that said, the Lakers had their chance to win the game and every chance to go ahead and take this game, but it wasn't enough, as, again, they lost 114-104. But before we head on out on this abbreviated edition of the Lakers Fast Break, because, they lost, so we don't really want to go ahead and mull on that over. But they will be playing tomorrow in Sacramento, and that's the thing I'm worried about because they did play 30-plus minutes tonight. LeBron, this is one of the times where I really am disappointed because LeBron had a really, really good game. Was it 40 points? He scored 38 points. Just a good performance from him. Not great. I missed some free throws. That's still an issue for him going forward. But you really don't want to throw these prime LeBron performances away, especially on games like these. Yeah, where you can win the game.
That's true, but it's just one game out of 72.
Well, we'll see what they have tomorrow, because if they'll have any juice in the tank, because they got to go fly to Sacramento.
Right.
And even though it's a short flight, it's still, you're going on the other team's, territory, and they're basically
might be
playing
Luke Walton's last game too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're playing for Luke Walton's very life, and we'll see how much. We will see tomorrow how much energy and enthusiasm and how much they want to keep Luke Walton tomorrow. I think that tomorrow will be a great indicator of how much the team, the players of Sacramento, with an extra day's rest on the Lakers, will go ahead and how much they do want to play for Luke Walton, because they will have all the advantages. The Lakers will not going in theirs tomorrow. So this is a potential trap game for us simply because of being shorthanded. Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like
we adjusted our way out of the last shorthanded situation, and then got dealt a couple of other deuces in the hole.
Exactly.
So we'll have to see how we do.
And I don't expect Mark or Kyle to be here there. They probably won't even fly up tomorrow. So Lakers going to be shorthanded again.
It's a game that really doesn't count in the big picture of anything. The Lakers are going to be conservative with anybody who's injured. So, and I don't expect that the Lakers will go all out to win this game. I think to a certain extent, they'd be probably happy enough just to not injure anybody in the game and to be able to come out. I definitely would like to see Damian Jones get some play tomorrow.
Although that
it'll be the last game. It's the last game scheduled for his 10-day contract.
Well, the kid has no strength at all. You can see it right there. That's one thing that shines out. That when he makes DeAndre Ayton look like really super buff, and they're standing right next to each other, that you have issues.
Yeah, but he's got two things you can't teach: size and length.
Yes, and also a good jumping ability, so he can't block shots, and there was some times where, He looked pretty good, but still, he doesn't have much in the range department.
Right.
He's got to stay within 2 feet. But still, for somebody that may fill the bill for you for a little while, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully, he'll get
he's
some.
the only center we got besides Trez, who's the small ball center.
Exactly.
6'7" center and a fifth year playing like a rookie, basically.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, and we'll see if he does get extended time. And also, again, if the Lakers win, if we're here tomorrow and we're smiling and we're laughing, that means Luke Walton's days are done. I'm just going to say that out loud. But you know what? Before we head on out, can you go ahead and let everyone know what you're working on with LakerHolics.com?
Yeah, I'm working on what's the alternative to how we fix our lineup. And I think the problems that we saw tonight, although not entirely due just to the Lakers situation, because you had COVID involving with Marc Gasol not being able to play. But we are still, we're still weak as far as rim protection goes, and we still have a problem with 3-point shooting. So I'm working on finishing an article tomorrow that will be my solution for solving both of those problems.
And by the way, we're not going to be able to get your man Lonzo Ball at this point. He has played himself into
Lonzo's played himself onto a regular role. Yeah, listen, there's some interesting things that you come across. I was looking at the defensive RPM statistics, and there were several Lakers that looked really good in there. But one of I like the number 5 guy with a defensive RPM is Lonzo Ball, and he's he has his flaws, his lack of ability to make free throws, his hesitancy to drive into the lane and attack the basket at times because of the free throws. But the guy is a great passer, a great playmaker, a good 3-point shooter. And he's really put a string together. He's somebody that I think would have fit really well with the Lakers. And when you start talking about the balls, you have to really give it to Michael Jordan and his team, and an old Laker friend on that team, who's the general manager, because they put together I've heard several people make the same comment that the Charlotte Hornets are their favorite League Pass team to watch. And the reason for that is not only the guys that they brought in and the moves that they made and bringing Hayward in and so forth, but it's LaMelo Ball, who is, I think, clear path for Rookie of the Year at this point in time. And you got to be thinking, if you're the Golden State Warriors, why did you take Wiseman instead of Ball?
Well, I don't think it's Wiseman that's the issue, because I think Wiseman is going to be a nice young center. I think the one question themselves should be Minnesota. I mean, that's the one that's really going to be ending up kicking themselves. Wiseman,
I think Melo is such a good player. They're both going to be kicking themselves for years.
Well, I'm sure that's the case. But then again, the Golden State Warriors aren't exactly hurting at point guard.
Nope.
No. So I think they're doing all right with point guard.
But LaMelo's 20. And it's amazing, but I never realized it until I saw it the other day, that Steph is 32.
Yeah. And his brother just turned 30. So, yeah.
That's all of a sudden you're starting to think, will the Warriors really be able to come back? I mean, will they be the same team again when Clay gets well?
We'll see.
I don't know.
I'm not sure of it either. But then again, I didn't think Draymond Green would be showing anything anymore at this point. But even if he's scoring 0 points a game, the way he's passing,
defensive RPM up there very high also.
Yeah, but the way he goes ahead and still able to contribute to the team is remarkable. But need I digress? The Lakers are now, I think, in 3rd place in the Western Conference because Phoenix has jumped over 2 teams today because the Clippers lost in Boston. The Suns.
I saw the end of the Clippers game.
Okay.
Paul George did his normal clutch play at the end of the game.
Yeah, well, he's the one that was
2 for 9 in the fourth quarter.
He was the one that was talking all the trash after the game on Sunday, and unfortunately didn't get it done again. But we're worried more about the Lakers. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see if we're laughing it up, talking about Luke Walton as far as his job is concerned. From looks like probably they'll
lots of time to play volleyball.
Yeah, lots of time to play volleyball with Dad. With the tie-dye shirts and all that. If he loses tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. It is again the Lakers losing 114-104. If you get a chance, give us a shout out at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter, plus also as well Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com. Also at LakerTom on Twitter. Please give him a shout out as well. And of course, stop by Lakerholics.com. Well, Tom, better luck tomorrow. Hopefully in 24 hours, we'll be a lot happier. Hopefully it will not be a trap game that Admiral Akbar has set out for us, like he was talking about already. So let's hope he's wrong on that one. But again, we will go into the All-Star break tomorrow after the game at Sacramento, and we'll go ahead and talk about the game coming up tomorrow night right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.